Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Today we're getting a special treat and we're going live with Miranda at the historic Scott County Jail. So Miranda.
Hi, Miranda.
Hey, hey, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Absolutely. We're so excited to get to see it. We've heard about the jail, but we're going to get to see that, live and in person today.
Taste, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am here at the historic Scott County Jail, which is a museum and paranormal research center that I co-own with my business partner, Dr. Christy Sumner from Soul Sisters Paranormal. And so we actually have the jail set up as a true crime and punishment museum. And then in the evenings, we do after dark tours, which I'm actually getting ready for this evening. We do some after dark tours for a paranormal research center. So I'm going to go ahead, if I can here, and turn everything around and just kind of tell you where I'm at. We're actually starting inside. I would love to show the outside. I can send some pictures. We've got some storms going on, so I can't show that, but we are actually in a sandstone castle. And it's really cool because there's not a lot of castles in East Tennessee. So go ahead and turn this around here.
Okay.
All right, so as you can see, I am in the booking room, which is the first place that most of the people see whenever they come in here. Everything is pretty much original as it was when the jail closed down in 2008. It was open from 1904 until 2008, and it only closed for a brief stint, which was in 1963 to early 1970. While it was closed at that point because there was some fire violations or fire code violations. And so they moved to another jail. Well, the reason that they ended up coming back to this jail was because they had so many escapes from the other jail. And so, of course, this is we're keeping track of where we've had visitors come from. And this is, of course, the visitation room. And so this is the side that the family, the lawyers would be on. And then, of course, through the glass here is the side where the inmate would be. And so, as I said, of course, these were original from 2008, whenever the jail closed down. And so this room here, we actually have set up as our primary museum room. And so, and it's a little echoey in here, but from 1904 until 1963, this was actually the jailer's quarters. And so this is not a very large room, but we've had reports of families with 10 to 12 kids that actually grew up and lived in this room. Of course, that's our newest resident there, our little jail cat, Sally. She was a stray and she's come to live here. But this is something we're actually really proud of because both Dr. Sumner and I put this together. She did the research on it, and I did the graphic design and put this, trying to get it where there's not a glare. But this is a timeline that actually shows a lot of the major events of the county as well as the jail. So you've got all the sheriffs that were here, the people who were actually killed here in the jail, and then again, some other significant events that took place within the time of the county from 1849 until we took it over in 2021. And this was the original kitchen, although we actually have it set up as our gift shop right now. This is also the room where I stay when we have paranormal investigators here. But this room not only served as the original kitchen, it was also the medical ward, the interrogation room, and also a cell at one point. And so up here at the top, this metal, that's actually a part of the original dumbwaiter system where they would take the food up to the second and third floor. So this room is actually a very haunted room. And we do something too in this room as our gift shop. Not only do we have our branded merchandise, but we also partner with other local authors, artisans, and craftsmen and sell their items here in the gift shop as well. And then down here, we have this room. This would have been the secondary processing room, as well as another cell. We right now have this set up as our law enforcement appreciation room. We're collecting patches from all around the country. Our goal is to have patches all over the jail from all over the country. We're also keeping track of all of our current end of the line stats. So that's the current number as of today of the officers who have been killed in the line of duty. And then, of course, over here on this wall, we're actually sharing the stories of our local officers who were killed in the line of duty. We've had 14 in total here in Scott County. And so we're still working on getting those stories put up. These rooms here, these were the original drunk tanks, and they are our bathrooms now. They did convert those into to look like, you know, real prison bathrooms, but they were the drunk tanks. They were originally painted drunk tank pink. That is a very common thing, otherwise known as Pepto-Bismol pink. And it's known to, or said to lessen aggression, but the inmates we had pretty much just said that it made them nauseous. So we'll head on up here to the second floor. And of course, this is our wall here. When a paranormal investigation team comes, they get a set of handcuffs. And so we allow them to write their name, put stickers or whatever on the handcuffs. And that way we lock it here in the jail. And then that way, you know, a little bit of them is locked in. And this is the yard or the door that goes to the outside yard. It's quite a small yard that was added in 1995. And it was where the inmates would get to go outside for anywhere from maybe an hour to 2 hours, depending on their status. And so here on the second floor, this was maximum security up until 1922. In 1922, there was a fire, and excuse me. And so they ended up actually, instead of just repairing the second floor, they ended up adding the third floor on. So these rooms are a little more dormitory style. We've got a laundry area here. And these rooms right here, they were set to house up to 10 inmates, but due to overcrowding at times, we could have up to 15 in these rooms. So there's 3 of those. Jesse James, he did come here to Huntsville for a while. He was not in the jail, but he did come here to Huntsville, and he was here for about 6 months, ran a feed and seed store. And so we actually share his story. By all accounts, him and his brother that was here, they were actually good businessmen. So they did leave when they went on the run. And, you know, that was when everything kind of took off there. And then, of course, this is the second floor kitchen. This was the kitchen from 1971 up until the jail closed in 2008. And so again, everything in here is pretty much as it was. They did move a few things off to the new jail whenever they rebuilt it. However, this is pretty much how it was at the time. At this time, the trustees, they were the ones that did the cooking in here. But when it was on the first floor, it was typically the sheriff's wife. If you were the sheriff or the jailer, typically your wife was the cook. And this is the remnants of that dumbwaiter system that was down there on the second floor. And so the activity and stuff we get here, it's interesting because we get stuff from the way it was when it was maximum security, but then we get things when it was trustees. And so the trustees who were in here, they were the ones who were the more trusted inmates, and the ones who they worked on the road crew, worked on the officers' cars, that sort of thing, picked up trash. And so they were the ones that did that. They were housed there on the second floor. Now, we did have ones who were murderers and such. The average stay here at the jail was typically around a couple days in the drunk tank to up to a year. If you committed a federal crime, you would be sentenced to Brushy Mountain State Prison or to Nashville State for the penitentiary. But if you were in here, you were pretty much in here through sentencing. And as I catch my breath, or I've walked up all those steps, we did have a couple people, because they were good mechanics or they were good, with certain jobs, they did get to finish out their sentence here. And so we had one inmate that was here for 7 years and one that was here for 13.
Wow.
So this is the third floor and is maximum security. This particular cell right here was the women's cell. And we know that because they actually got a little bit of privacy that the others did not. Yeah, they actually had a door.
Oh, wow.
Stall. And they did leave some of the original graffiti. When they got the tourism grant in 2017, unfortunately, they did paint over some of the graffiti, but they did leave a few pieces of original. So, okay. And so this area looks a lot more like your traditional jail. There are 3 of these bullpens that are in here. And in those bullpens, you do have the cells that are housed anywhere from 2, 3, or 4 inmates. And of course, they did not have any privacy here in the men's section. And then of course, the shower is right here in the center. I'll go over here to one of the longer bullpens. Like I said, there are 3 of those. And we're currently working on exhibits because it's just myself and Christy. And so we've been, there was nothing here when we came in. So we've been relying on the community to put items on loan and donate items. So we actually have quite a robust museum. This is, again, this is one of our longest bullpens here. And so it's got 3 cells. It's got the place where they would shower. It's also got the long bench where they would eat. And so the inmates would be in their cells up to 22 hours a day. And this would be their only freedom. They would be able to come out of the cells. They did have a TV in the corner. And then this little box right here was a collect call box. And so they could make a phone call, take a shower, and then they would be back into their jail cell. And then of course, out here, this is our jailer's walk, which is pretty narrow. It does go around all 3 of the bullpens. And so the jailer would come and patrol several times a night and several times during the day. And he would come and patrol through here and be able to check on the inmates. The jail originally, when it was only 2 stories, it was built to house about 32 inmates. And that was up until 1922. After 1922, whenever they added the 3rd floor, it was built to hold 50 inmates. But when we would have overcrowding, it would be very common to have up to 100 inmates. And that would be 100 inmates to 1 jailer.
That's crazy.
So we are, like I said, working on exhibits. These are the different individuals on this floor who were taken out of here by what we call mountain justice. And one of the most popular stories is of this gentleman right here, Jerome Boyett. And this actually happened to 7 different inmates. There were 7 different inmates over the course of the jail's existence who were taken out of here because they did not get a trial. They were taken out of here and executed. So we're trying to share their stories And we'll be adding all of those along that wall over there. So we've got a lot of, and I'll show you this. This is just how great the community's been. This is the only cell that we are not allowing people in, and it's because it's full of newspapers. This is one newspaper, at least one newspaper, sometimes two a week from 1950 up until 2012. And so Christy and I we had to carry it up 33 steps, and we put them in the cell here. And so we're going through them to try to find some of the different stories. And the goal is to actually have those going around the jailer's walk here, up and down the stairs, and then also throughout the jail. We have a lot of articles, as you saw, from downstairs, but we've got a lot of different plans with some of the different ones that we've got coming up here. So in a nutshell, that is our little jail.
It's amazing, Miranda. Thank you so much.
Wow.
I had a vision of it in my head, and this really makes it come alive.
Fascinating. Yeah, it really does. How interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been something, to be able to put this together and and see the town come in and be able to utilize this is something that has been, really important to us, to be able to do this, because being in a small community, a small rural town like this, this jail has touched so many lives. Either they've had family that's worked here, generations of family who were jailers, sheriffs, or cooks, and then others that have served time in here,
Right, yeah.
So in some way or another, people have, been touched by this jail. And it's really cool to see that when you come in here, because they'll go onto that timeline, or they'll go to the different pictures on the wall and they'll talk about, well, that was my uncle, or that was so-and-so. I remember when this happened. So it's really a cool thing.
Yeah. It's such a great tie-in to something that you're already so fascinated with, the history, the paranormal, all of that, and to actually be able to continue that aspect with a physical place that you can do this work from and share these stories is fabulous.
Yeah, we're so happy for you, Miranda, because we know
we're
this was like
excited.
a long, time coming, and something that you guys wanted to do, and what a great opportunity to share and have a home base, right? Very cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we feel like we can really come in here, and the history is something that is the most important to us, but to be able to come in and actually investigate on a daily basis, we're able to do true paranormal research without just a one and done sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
So we've been able to really validate a lot of history by the research we've been doing here.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, so cool.
That's great.
So we're going to tell us where to find you. Yeah, let's get a little shout out to the jail. Like, where can we find you online, Miranda, so we can, and we'll put that in the description too, but if you want to share that with our listeners.
Sure, absolutely. So the best place to find it, we are very active on social media. You can find us under the Historic Scott County Jail on Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, because we do a weekly podcast where we share some of the true crime stories from here, and then just kind of talk about some of the local stuff going on. That's also under Historic Scott County Jail. And then we have a website that's got everything from the events we're doing, the podcast, and anywhere that, like, if you want to book an investigation. And it's www.historicscottcojail.com. And the co is like as in county. So historicscottcojail.com.
Got it. Okay. And we'll make sure we stick that in the description so people can find you. But I mean, if you're around, you should definitely go check out Miranda's jail and learn those stories and find out what's happened in that. And, all small communities have it. We're just going to get blessed with the opportunity to kind of feel it when we're there in your community. Right. So what a great thing. Thank you so much, Miranda.
Thanks, Miranda.
Absolutely. Thank you.